Don't you think that if we didn't crave junk food, sugar, carbs like bread, and junk food like potato chips or candy bars, it would be a lot easier to lose weight? I know I have thought that for a long time. So today what I want to do is talk about what causes these cravings in the first place and what we can do about them. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrea Otley. I'm a horse-crazy wife and mom of 3 from a small ranching town in southeastern Oregon. I have struggled with cravings for food, especially sugar, for as long as I can remember. So I feel like I'm an expert on this topic. And, it stood in the way of helping me lose weight, especially those extra pounds I gained after my last child. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to go over some things that I've learned and have been applying that have let me lose the weight actually in these last 3 months. It seems like that might be a long time to say, oh, guess what, guys? I've lost a certain amount of weight in 3 months. They're, in this day and age of quick fixes where you want to lose 10 pounds in a week kind of a thing. That's just not what I stand for. I want to know the science behind what's going on with my body, and I want to know how to take action so that I can achieve my goals. And that's really what it's about. So I help horsewomen lose weight and get fit to ride. That is my mission. So today, let's go ahead and dive in to what causes these cravings in the first place. And then the second part of this will be what you can do about them. What actions you can take, like starting today, to actually get these cravings under control and really improve your whole health, lose weight if that's what you want to do, but just really feel better. Because the key to living a happier, healthier life is how you feel. That's the basis of it. Okay, so I do have some notes written down over here because my scattery brain, I'll be all over the place. So if I look away, that's what I'm doing. Just make sure I have my thoughts in a row and I don't skip around too much. So bear with me. Bear with me there. Okay, so I want to start by telling you just a little story about my own personal journey. And it started back when my last child, my daughter Rebecca, was about 6 months old. I decided I was going to get really serious about losing my last layer of fluff. I had probably about 20 pounds I wanted to lose, and I needed a system to follow. So I did what almost everybody is told to do. I cut out the junk food. I tried really super hard to eat healthy. I made sure my diet was balanced. I ate from all the food groups. I didn't do anything extreme. I was eating vegetables. I was eating fruit. I was eating healthy carbs like, rice and, healthy starches, potatoes, sweet potatoes, the things they tell us to eat. I was eating small meals. Now, this is yeah, okay, so I was eating small meals 5 to 6 times a day, 2 to 3 hours apart, just like they tell us we're supposed to do. I was exercising more, and I was creating a calorie deficit because I was just doing the math. If I took in less calories into my body, ate less, and exercised more, that calorie deficit would cause me to shrink and lose the unwanted body fat. And it just seemed like a genius plan, like it should work. Here was the problem for me, and I want to know from you if you've experienced this at all. I would get going and I would do so good for about 3 days. I would feel motivated. I would get my meal plans in order. I would go shopping for my foods. I would have everything all prepped and ready to go and lined out and all these systems I could think of. I'd invoke the strongest willpower I could muster because by golly, I knew what my goals were and I wanted them so bad. But then around, and it was typically that third day. Sometimes it was the first day. Sometimes I might make it 3 weeks at a time. But anyway, my point is at some point I would fall off the wagon. That's what I want to know. Have you ever done that? Have you ever laid it out perfectly, had a really good plan to follow that made sense, that wasn't extreme, that it was just like, if I could just try really hard and have lots of self-discipline and my life didn't get in the way, I could do this. And then you're like, yes, this is it. I'm going to do it this time. And you try really hard, but then something, it doesn't even matter what it is, comes along and you fall off the wagon. Maybe you're at a barrel race or a horse show and you just want to go have a beer at the end of the day, and one beer turns into 3 and then you feel like crap and then you beat yourself up. Or let's say you have something really stressful going on at work and it's the end of the day and you have to go to the grocery store and you buy the Cadbury eggs and you eat 5 of them on your way home. That seems a little extreme, but I probably did that. That's the kind of stuff. Something happens and you fall off the wagon. It's almost like you can't help it. That's how I felt. I felt like I was out of control part of the time. Part of the time I was really good and I was in control. Part of the time I was just out of the control. It was like something, and I tried to study on it. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just follow a meal plan? That's all I want to do. I want to take 2 months, lose some weight, feel good about my body, show these people I can do it, and just accomplish it. What is wrong with me? Why can't I do it? I don't know. So you come to this point where enough is enough and you've got to figure it out. That's what happened for me. And a lot of times when I can't figure something out, I feel like I need to go, there's a piece to the puzzle missing and I need to go learn more information. And that's what I want to share with you today, because there's a saying that goes, if you know better, you'll do better. That's exactly what happened for me. There were a few things, very simple things, that I learned that just turned the switch, and I'm like, hallelujah, like the skies parted, the clouds parted, the skies opened up, the angels sang, and I felt glory, and I still do. I feel glorious. That's why I'm talking about this today. I feel so good about it. Okay, let's talk about the science behind your cravings. This is my weak part. This is my weak suit. I did bad in science in school. Yeah, I did bad in high school, and in college I think I got a couple of D's of all things in science. So I'm not an expert in this at all, but I learned enough to hopefully explain these concepts about how our bodies work and the science behind these cravings. We are so complex. Like right now, you should just take 2 seconds and just kiss your body all over, because it is amazing. Your body is so freaking amazing. What it can do, what it does, even if it does it wrong, it is crazy amazing. So I took some time to study on really what is the science behind the cravings, and I want to share in a really dummied down version that makes sense to me. So this is what I pack around with me all day long now. It just makes sense, and I can use that knowledge to do better, and it is working like magic. Okay, here we go. Number one, the first thing I want to talk about is this notion of cravings in the first place. And I want you to just think about your cravings that you have. Your cravings are very much different than true hunger. So don't confuse the two. Don't think that cravings and hunger are the same, because they're not. And if you're like me, you have no freaking clue what hunger even is in the first place. Like, we're not even going there today, because if cravings have been destroying your efforts, you have no idea what hunger is. That's a whole nother topic that we'll get to later. We don't even need to worry about it. We're worried about cravings. Think about what a craving is. For me, a craving would be something that would happen to me. It would be a feeling, a strong driving impulse, no matter how much willpower I would use, that would make me take action on something. So for example, let's say I cooked a really wholesome meal at the end of the day, And I sat there, my belly's full, like I can feel it being stretched out. And I ate what I was supposed to eat, and then I'm sitting there feeling unsatisfied and like I need some chocolate. I have to have it. I have to have the chocolate or someone will die. That's a craving, right? Like, that's not rocket science. We all know what cravings are. We can share. I would love to hear about what your cravings are. So just share with me what they're like. When do they happen for you? Are they after a stressful time? Maybe your kids are being irritating, or your husband, or they don't watch this stuff, do they? Or, something just didn't go right for you. Does that signal cravings for you? Is it smells? Like sometimes when I would walk into Subway and you'd smell that bread baking, and you're like, oh, I gotta have the bread, carbs. So just what are those cravings like for you? Share with me. I want to know more about your cravings because they're real. They're extremely powerful. And don't think for a second that there is any kind of self-discipline that you can use on your cravings alone that will fix this. It's frugal. It won't work. And I'm going to explain why. Okay, so we know what cravings are. Now let's talk about the science of our bodies for a second. Okay. Have you heard of gut health? Let me know if you know, if you've heard that topic, if you've done any research yourself to hear the term gut health. I'm not going to get too far down into it because I'm not an expert by any means, but I have learned some very interesting things in the last few weeks. So your guts have living organisms in them, which is kind of creepy if you think about it, but whatever. There are good organisms and bad organisms. You might have heard them called your bacteria, your gut bacteria. Some marketers are going all gung-ho about, you need to take this certain pill or whatever to balance your gut biome and all these things. So it's a real thing. Like scientifically, don't learn it from me because remember I failed science in college. Go find a reputable source and learn more about that. But the basics is you have good bacteria and bad bacteria that is alive in your guts. What we want to talk about today is the bad bacteria. It's alive and thriving in your guts if you have cravings, first of all, and if you eat not so healthy, which that's going to be 99.9% of all of us. Okay, good bacteria, bad bacteria. Okay, let's just table that notion for just a second and move on to this next thing. Our bodies, like I'm saying, are so amazingly just incredible. We think we're controlling our bodies, but really they are doing a jam-up job of keeping us alive. What happens is the body is sending signals and regulates itself via hormones. This is probably not new. Maybe you took this in college. That's not where I learned this, but I wish they'd teach more of this stuff in college. If they did, we would not be in the mess that we're in now. Okay. They probably do in good schools, but when I was studying ag economics in college, I didn't take any health classes. And so I didn't learn any of this stuff. So your body it sends signals and regulates itself beautifully, perfectly. There is nothing you can think and nothing that you can do that changes your regulatory system necessarily. Like if it's already in motion, it is perfect. So beautiful, amazing thing that happens. The way it does this is through hormones. Hormones, when I say that word, most people think of the sex hormones. They think of the female hormones, the things that make us all moody when it's that time of the month. We think of the male hormones, the things that have and the drive and that's our hormones, the testosterone and the estrogen and all of those things. That's not I'm not talking about sex hormones. I'm talking about body regulating hormones. There's many. It's not just your sex hormones. There are so many hormones That's what our body uses to send signals all over the place on a cellular level so that our body takes action. Okay, hopefully you're following me. This is just really exciting, so I'm really trying to take my time and explain what's happening. Okay, so we've got our bad organisms, our bad bacteria living in our gut, and then we've got this notion of how the body talks to different other parts of the body, okay? The thing I want to focus on today to help you understand where your cravings come from is there's 5 hormones that I want to just say the names of because you've heard of these before. Okay, the first one is dopamine. The next one is serotonin. So those are your happy hormones and your mood regulators. You've heard of these, I know, and you've probably already researched or know things that affect these hormones. The other 3 are your hunger hormones that I want to just mention the names of. Like, we're not going to get into a big thing about them, but I just want you to create this picture. I want you to learn more about how the science behind your body and where these cravings are come from. We've got leptin, ghrelin, and neuropeptide Y. I think I said that right. I think. Anyway, they call it NPY. Who cares? Those 5 hormones are all involved in your cravings. And it's because part of them are released in the guts. The guts are where these hormones are released, sending a signal to your brain to take a certain action. If you are eating foods that are high in sugar, high in refined carbohydrates, or sometimes any carbohydrates that are complex, any complex carbohydrates like starches of any kind. Sugars, the complex carbohydrates, even if they're clean, even if you guys are eating clean, this could be happening. And junk food, so definitely junk food. Any of the sweets, the candy bars, the packaged cookies, the potato chips, lots of boxed cereals, packaged, boxed foods with added sugar and added ingredients. These are the foods that your bad bacteria in your guts lives on. It thrives on these foods. It's like, yummy, I need to eat those more. And that bacteria rules the roost. That bad bacteria is really low and it wants to stay alive, and it's like, I'm hungry. So it tells these hormones to release, which sends signals to your brain that says, okay, here's how you're feeling. You have cravings. You feel sad. You feel moody. You feel irritable. All hormonal. Sometimes, I mean, I'm not trying to solve the ways of the world here. There are other things that go on in your mental life, but they can be caused, you guys, from these out of balance hormones. This bad bacteria that needs to be fed is getting signals, sending signals to your brain via the hormones saying, I need more junk food. And then the cravings, that unsettled, unfull, unsatisfied, I gotta have it now feeling, that's coming from hormones. That's coming from your cravings. Okay, how did I do? Am I making any sense? Do you have questions? Have you heard about this before? Is this the thing that I want you to do? And we'll talk about this at the end. But if this is like, wow, I had no idea, go research it. Because like I said, I'm dummying it down. There are very qualified sources out there and information that you can learn more about this. Because like I really believe, if you know better, you'll do better. Like right now, you can't go back. You can't go back to going, well, I'm going to eat that. I'm going to cave to my cravings because I just need that food. I need to make myself feel better. So I'm going to eat that. Okay. So if you're serious about your goals, those days are gone. They're gone. And so the second part of this video is going to be about what you can do about them. Because you're like, oh, that's all fine and well. Okay, good. I'm excited. That makes sense to me. My bad bacteria in my guts needs fed. It tells my brain to release these crazy cravings so that I feed my bad bacteria so it can see the cycle that's happening. Okay, that makes sense. But what the hell do you do about it? That's what I want to talk about next. I have, let me see here, 3 things that I've been doing since about Christmas time. So that's about 3 months of practice that I have. And I want to share these tips with you about what you can start doing now. So you can write these down or come back and listen again or share this so that you can keep learning. I wish there was like a 5-minute thing that I could just do, and I'll get better at shortening all this up, but it's just so important that you just slow down and take some time to learn about what's going on. If losing weight, getting in control of your cravings, feeling better as you go throughout your day, feeling like you're in control is important to you. If you're like, yeah, I'd like to do better, this, but I don't really care to put that much effort into it, or I just wish there was an easier way and I'll wait for that, then you should go on. Because I haven't found it. This is the best thing so far, is just to keep diving in and finding out things like this. But there's no easy way. There's no, I don't want to say that because this is easy. Understanding how your body works and then working with it is easy. It's good. The fighting your cravings isn't that hard. Are you tired of it? I am so tired of it, of riding that falling off the wagon, getting back on the wagon roller coaster. I'm so tired of it. Okay. So let's talk about what you can do about it. So if it's, an unhealthy gut that is causing these problems in the first place, then it's only logical that definitely improving your gut health is going to fix it. Yes? And that is going to change those signals to your brain, and you're going to regulate your hormones. That sounds simple enough. And it truly is. It truly is that simple. So let's talk about how. Here are my 3 things that you can start doing to regulate your hormones and improve the health of your gut. So we're going to kill that bad bacteria, and in exchange, the good bacteria is going to balance out, and you're going to start feeling so much better. Number 1, it all boils down to what you're eating. You cannot keep feeding the bad bacteria with the sugar, with the high processed carbs, the donuts, the Twinkies, the blueberry muffins, the pretend health food, high sugar protein bars. You can no longer eat the junk food, because when you're eating the junk food, when you're eating all this bad food, it is feeding the bad bacteria, and there's no way out. You can't fall off the wagon anymore. Now, bear with me here, because I know that sounds scary. If you haven't learned how to dive into this yet, that sounds scary, but you have to realize that is you cannot feed the bad bacteria any longer and expect your cravings to go away. They won't. They can't. You cannot fight this. Okay. So what should you be eating instead? Anything that is, you have to eat low sugar. You need to greatly reduce your carbohydrates, if not eliminate them altogether. Don't send me the hate mail now, okay? I don't have all the answers to everything, but I know this is working very well for me. And I'm not going to say that you need to never eat carbs ever again, or how much you should eat. I'm just saying that you need to lower your carbs, lower your sugar, and absolutely no more junk food. And this is to starve the bad bacteria. So that kind of goes back to what we were saying in the beginning. You already know when you cut that stuff out, you feel like shit. You have uncontrollable cravings because you are starving the bad bacteria. You can't go against those hormones. It will never work. Your willpower is not strong enough. So what do? Increase your healthy fat intake. And by doing that, by eating more healthy fats, you will change the signals that your body is sending your brain to feel satisfied. You will start regulating your hunger hormones. That is what a diet, not by diet, I don't mean following a diet. That is what eating healthy fats does. When you put the healthy fats in, it helps your body regulate your hunger hormones. Whew, okay. When you do this right, and we're not going to get into this either today, but it is possible. I just want to plant the seeds for what will happen. It is possible to switch from being someone who burns sugar as your fuel source to someone who burns fat as your fuel source, okay? When you do that, you will feel amazing and your cravings will go away. Okay, goodbye. I'm done. That's all. That's all there is. End of story. True though, it is true. Once I started doing this myself, I was blown away. It was almost instant. It was almost instant. Last weekend was Easter. When I was in the Safeway buying food for our Easter dinner and then some things for the kids, I walked by the Cadbury eggs and the little robin egg thing, and it meant nothing to me. And you have no idea the grip that sugar has had on me my whole entire life. It's been bad. Where I have really literally thought there was something wrong with me. Since I've been doing this, it's gone. I mean, gone. I don't mean better. I mean gone. Okay? I just want to get better at getting this message out there so bad. All right. Number 2. Number 1, change what you eat. Number 2, have you ever heard of eating within a shortened window? Some people call it intermittent fasting. Have you ever tried that? Have you ever looked into it before? That's my next tip. It is so good for your gut health. What I used to do was start about 6 o'clock in the morning and eat 5 to 6 meals, 2 to 3 hours apart until probably about 9 or 10 at night. Later, if I stayed up later. That right there was telling my body to store fat and was totally messing up my balance of hormones. It was it was ruining, if that's possible. I'm probably over exaggerating, but I feel like it was ruining my hunger hormone mix, those hormones that regulate whether I'm full and satisfied, whether I need to eat more food, whether I need to store the food as fat, or what I need to do with this food. It was messing them up because I was eating too much too frequently. I probably wasn't even eating enough. I probably wasn't eating too much. I was just eating all the freaking time. So my body never had a chance to process what was in there in the first place and then heal my gut and balance my hormones. So what I've been doing instead is eating within, and I graduated up to this, eating within an 8-hour window. So right now, I get up at 4 a.m. I know, I have to. I want to, but I have to. I get up at 4 a.m. I have a cup of coffee. I take supplements. So I do a pre-workout. I do my workout. I have a hydration post-workout that I drink, and these are not caloric by any means. It's just to help balance electrolytes. I do that, so no food goes in my body. I get up at 4. No food goes into my body until about 9 a.m., and then I will either have my fat-burning coffee or my fat-burning shake. And then I go through the day and have lunch and maybe a snack depending on how I feel. And then by 4:30, I'm making dinner. And I eat dinner and I'm done eating by 5. I'm done eating by 5 o'clock. So that's an 8-hour window from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's a very shortened time. Especially this time of year, I will head to the barn about 5. I'll ride my horses for a couple, 2-3 hours. When it gets summer, I probably won't even get in till 9. Well, rather than come home and make a big steak dinner with salad and eat all that and then go to bed, I'm done. At 5, I'm done, and I won't eat again until the next night. Because of what I'm eating and how much, I feel fantastic. I can't even tell you how much energy, how much mental clarity, how I have 0 cravings, and how my body that's how I feel. And that's because I know those hormones are balanced. But what's happening that I don't feel, that I don't know, is my body is burning fat for energy. So my body fat percentage is going down. I'm losing weight without even trying, without counting calories, without doing anything crazy, without focusing it on it all the freaking time. It's happening. And then my guts, my digestive system is healing. Every day it's healing, it's healing, it's healing. And it's so wonderful. So that's my second thing. Eat within that shortened window. And just, if that's something you want to start doing, look into it, find some more research about it that makes sense to you. And you can do it all at one time, but you probably, your throat, you'll really be upsetting those hormones. So you can graduate into that. Each day shorten your window up by an hour. So if you're used to eating from 6 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night, don't start eating till 7, maybe shorten it up till 8, and just shorten that window until you get within the 8 hours. And then something we'll talk about later is I have done a couple of 3-day fasts, which were fantastic too. It's all to improve that whole notion of your gut health. And then 3, the last thing that I'm going to leave you with that you can start doing is stop counting calories and stop restricting your calories. Stop doing that. Stop trying to create a deficit. That is messing with your hunger hormone, especially that NPY one, the neuropeptide Y. Because when your body thinks it's in starvation because you're restricting calories, because you're cutting calories, because you're creating a deficit, it messes up your hormones and it makes you have cravings, and that's what's making you fall off the wagon. You cannot help it. No willpower is going to fix this. It's a hormonal issue that you have to fix. And so you have to keep putting in enough of the right foods. And so that's why I recommend doing the low sugar, low carb, high fat, moderate protein. We'll get into all of that later. Or you can take some time to look into it yourself. Like I said, I'm just sharing what's working for me. Resource on this whole notion that calorie restricting and cutting calories down, it's so controversial. Like if this video got into the wrong hands, they'd eat my lunch, because here I am so unprofessional saying what I think and what's working for me. But it is very controversial. Mainstream, no way. No way does mainstream follow this. They will tell, even doctors, they will say, when you put you on a diet, you need to eat less food, you need to exercise more so that you lose weight. And it'll work in the short term, but unless you regulate those hormones, your weight will come back on. And how many of you have done that? How many of you have lost the weight only to gain it back again? Or you've lost the weight only to realize that you cannot stand how you feel this, you think it's this thin, but really this out of balance. You can't stand it. So you gain it all. Thank you. See, I know. Yeah. There's a book that I want you to check out if you haven't already read it. It's called Why We Get Fat and What to Do About It by Gary Taubes. I wonder if that's how you say it. Taubes. It's so good. It really changed my thinking. This is how I'll share this really quick story with you on how he proved to me that calories in versus calories out is not the thing. It's hormonal. There was a study that they did on mice where they took the ovaries out of mice, causing a hormonal imbalance. Now we're, whatever. Who cares what hormones they were, but that's what happened. Then they put the mice in a closed environment where they controlled what they ate. And one set of mice, I think this is how it went. I'll get the point right, but don't quote me on exactly how the study went. They had their controlled group where they were eating the regular foods. And then the other mice were on a restricted diet. They were getting less calories. And the mice had no choice. They couldn't fall off the wagon. They had to eat less. Guess what happened to the mice who ate less? Do you think that they lost weight? And a lot of ladies who have gone through that or have had any estrogen issues know that it doesn't matter how little you eat. If your hormones are out of balance, you'll gain weight. You'll gain weight. And I think a lot of times we think, oh, that's because we didn't really eat less. We ate more. No, BS. Those rats, those mice, the cute little mice, they didn't get an opportunity to cheat on their diet. They didn't. They were in a controlled group where they only got to eat what they ate. Guess what they did instead? Their hormonal drive was so strong that they just did less. They moved around less. They moved around so much less that they gained weight because they made those calories store fat in their bodies. That's what those hormones told their, sorry, I'll get better at this. The hormones told those mice to store fat. So the mice got fatter. Okay, so I think this was probably not humane, but they kept going with it and they kept starving the mice even more. They took away all the food. Do you think that those mice eventually started losing weight? Because they had nothing to eat now, nothing. This blows my mind. They did not. This is how strong your hormones are and why you have got to get them balanced. The mice did not lose weight. Do you want to know what they did instead? They started burning protein for fuel, which means muscle. They started using muscle when they had no food to take in. They started using muscle. Guess what was the muscle that went? This is giving me goosebumps. Can you see? Goosebumps telling this story. The mice started eating their own hearts. The hormonal drive to store fat was so strong that it overrode the ability to keep the heart beating. I imagine it still kept beating, but it was sloughing away they were using the muscle of the heart muscle, which is a protein, it's a muscle, they were using that as fuel rather than tap into their own fat stores as energy. Doesn't that blow your mind? You should get the book and read it or listen to it on Audible. I'm like, damn, I am never cutting calories and exercising more again in my life. I'm going to do everything in my power to learn how to regulate my hunger hormones and balance the hormones that regulate my mood and my happiness, because there's no way. No wonder we are always falling off the stupid. We need to burn the wagon down. We need to dismantle it and never again get on the wagon again. You have to change completely what you're doing. Whew. That is what I wanted to share. Okay, really briefly, I'll just review very briefly. There's a science behind these cravings. You have to understand what is going on. You have bad bacteria in your guts that demands to be fed. Junk food is the food source. When you feed it, it messes up your hormones, your happy hormones and your hunger hormones. That means that you can't get out of that vicious cycle unless you change something. The things that need to be changed are what you eat so that you starve out the bad bacteria so they die. And you need to increase your fat intake so that your hormones regulate and you no longer feel those cravings, because willpower will not do it. You need to shorten your window of eating within 8 hours, and you need to stop trying to restrict your diet and stop trying to cut calories or count calories for that matter. That probably opens up a lot of questions, but for now I'm going to leave you with that bit of information. It's kind of an overview. What I want you to do to take away from this is you've got to do your homework. This is working so well for me, but maybe you have other issues that I don't have. That's why there's no one size fits all. You need to go take some time and learn about your body and figure out what's going on with it. What is causing you to have your cravings? You can no longer, this is the next thing that I want you to do, is stop following these systems and these diets and these rules blindly without knowing why you're doing it. You have to stop doing that. You can't do that anymore, because it's messing you up. It doesn't work first of all, and it's messing up your body and it's making you unhealthy, and that's bad. You can't fix it until you start fixing it. And now, if any of these things that I have said make sense, start taking action on them. If you already know, maybe this is reminding you to go do it again, reinvigorate your motivation. Just let logic lead the way. Know that no amount of willpower is going to work, and you cannot keep eating junk food if you want to get in control of your cravings. But there's more to it than that, because we've tried that before. So you got to go a step farther and add the healthy fats and learn more about that, which I promise we'll talk about later. So thank you very much for listening. If you found this video helpful, just let people know about it. It is my mission to help horsewomen lose fat and get in shape to ride, to feel great about yourself, to be confident in your body and how you look in your clothes, how you look on your horse, how well you do when you ride, how much you enjoy your experience, all of those things. And I'm just going to keep sharing what I'm doing and what I'm learning, and hopefully motivating you to go find out more for yourself, because when you know better, you'll do better. So thank you again, and have a good day.